Yeah, it usually helps when I have the mic unmuted. Um, yeah, let me start over. I don't know what I was saying now. Anyways, I'm having some weird issues on my end with music in my headphones. I think it's the headphones, or just like I have too much crap around the Mac Mini, and so the Bluetooth isn't quite making it or something, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go without music today. So anyways, hello everyone. Hopefully your day is going well so far. If you are in 2022, congratulations and Happy New Year. I'll be there in a little bit. I'm hurrying as fast as I can, but you know, they say it's gonna be another 11 hours, and you know, what can you do about it, right? Yeah. Sorry, my brain is just kind of... I'm having an off day, so thankfully this is an easy, straightforward build, and which is actually kind of part of the problem, but that's a separate note. But thankfully this is a pretty easy, straightforward build, so won't be too difficult. Won't require a whole lot of mental capacity. So this board that I'm building today is the special board that I believe Purse completely designed. At the very least, she did the silk, but I'm pretty sure the whole board is hers too. From the Absolem Club meetup that we had in Washington, DC back in November. And it's a turtle, or a tortoise. I'm not really sure how to tell the difference or which, but I'm gonna go with the whole like I like turtles meme because I think that's a funny video. I really should have done the face makeup. That would have made it even more meme-tastic, but either way, we've got this. I am going to start using KB 2040s, I think, for everything. If you didn't know, I put one in my Osprey that I built, and Pete did some work with the... There's now RP 2040 support in Zephyr, but it's in main, so it's not like on a release yet. But he built a ZMK branch based off of Zephyr main that then has a KB 2040 like board definition. So it works. This key map that's on here is completely wrong. Like, it doesn't work at all for me. But it works, which means for boards that I'm not intending to use the very day I build them, I can start using KB 2040s, which are like $5 a piece. They're about the same price as a Pro Micro, and they run ZMK, and they have a USB-C connector. So yeah, that's really exciting. Also for non-split boards, because as far as I know, as far as I understand, ZMK still doesn't work with wired split, but hopefully that'll be coming soon. And maybe if I can convince Pete to use the quick connector and I2C between the boards, I don't know. Maybe that's what it's originally, always been. It's like, well, we'll just use I2C, but it'd be kind of cool to like to be able to use the quick connector instead of TRS or something like that. But anyways, so I'm gonna start using these just because why not, right? And I have a bunch of them, except for, like I said, wired splits, which honestly, like, I mean, I guess I have two that are coming up, and I'll talk about this in a minute. But like, I'm kind of all in on unibody at this point, so unless I'm building it for like a display piece or something like that, it'll probably be a unibody going forward. So I've got Chalk Pro Reds and Chalk Robins. I'm not really sure which I'm gonna put on this. I kind of want to go Pro Reds to like Christmas colors it, and then use some of these caps. I don't know if I have enough red and blue caps. I don't know. just make it kind of colorful. Or robins, I don't know. Haven't thought that far ahead. So in other news, coming up, I've got several more builds. I need to like figure out when I'm gonna do them. Got the split Osprey, or the Clog from S'mores. It is an Osprey that's split. It's the same layout, same everything. It's just got 2 controllers and it's split. I have, or had, well, I mean, technically I still have it. It's in the trash can down there. But I have had a pair of these PCBs that didn't have TRS. So this is like an upgraded version, and the silk's in a better position or something like that. So that'll get built, whereas the other one wasn't going to, because I didn't want to put nice nanos on it. So I'll have that coming up at some point. I have the Hyper Garlic or Hyper Gallic. I'm not really sure if like people are just pronouncing garlic weird, but there is a garlic on it, so there's that. It's a 34 key split with splay. Thought there was something else fun about it, but it really, I like the garlic silk, so there. But it is otherwise, I think, just a 34 key split with splay. Kind of like the ADUX, but with a little less aggressive of a pinky splay or pinky stagger. So that's coming up at some point. Then I have the MX version of the Osprey, which this is potentially a long-term travel board candidate. So I'm gonna do this up proper with well, it's hot swap switches, so switches aren't as big of a concern, but I'm gonna put a nice nano and stuff in here. This one's also signed, thank you S'mores. Also has some cool silk art from Purse, but it's the same thing as the Osprey. It's just MX switches, not MX spaced. It's like straight up MX switches go in there. And maybe this will even happen today, because this should go pretty quick, and this would go pretty quick too. But this is the Kaz-Katat or Kazatat. I thought it was Kaz-Katat, but maybe it's just the Kazatat. Yeah, Kazatat. This is a board that was I guess designed by, or proposed or something by Kaz. And it looks like it's a 36 key with some options, so you can do 34 key, 36, 35, any kind of combination there. But ortho unibody. Yeah. And like Kaz designed it, but I think Squash is the one who actually like put it together and stuff like that. But it's cool. It's got neat art, and Kaz is cool, and yeah, designed by Squash KB. I just think it's a neat little keyboard, and it's also super tiny. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Like this is plank-ish, and I don't know where my plank is, but I'll take a chalk-spaced plank alike, and it's like smaller than that. I mean, obviously it's missing 2 columns as compared to that, but like with low profile switches and stuff on here, this would be really teeny. So it could be a neat little like pocketable almost travel board. Kind of cool. But you know, fun build, and it's really straightforward, just some diodes. Oh wait, this uses through-hole diodes. That's the other thing. I do have through-hole diodes, so that's not a problem. But it's meant for, like, I think has designed it because he was afraid of surface mount or something. He's like, I want through-hole diodes. I don't remember. But yeah. So that actually might even happen today, just because of this won't take too long to build and I'll have time, but we'll see. Yeah. So those are upcoming boards. I also ordered a barrel board, which is it's like it's a hot swap chalk board with 34 keys or 36 keys. But the most important thing about it is it has RGB support. And since I want to have a board to put my Work Louder creator caps on, you know, it's good for that. So I'm going to build that. That is supposed to be shipping out today, so hopefully to be here next week. Maybe I'll schedule it for 2 weeks out, something, I don't know. So looking forward to that. And there's another board that I'm kind of in the process of maybe thinking about sort of doing a group buy. I kind of promised one, but the more I look into it, the more I'm just kind of like, ooh, I don't know, this seems complex, just because it's like, because there's PCBA involved, or sourcing lots of tiny little weird parts. There's also sourcing of controllers, and there's e-ink displays and stuff like that. But there's a Weedior. Let me see if I can dig up the link. Yes, the Tipper TF board. Post the link in the channel here. So that board, the design is finalized. It's like a 34 key. It's like I actually joked that you could call it display FOD because it's got a display in the middle, and I was like, have you looked into using the sharp memory display instead of e-ink? And there was back and forth on that. TLDR, it is intentional that he chose the e-ink display, but it's very similar in style to a Zaphod, but it has pinky display, or it has, you know, ring finger and pinky display, and embedded controller and all that good stuff. He was saying that he'll be selling them fully kitted for like $60 or 60 euros rather. So it's possible. But if you're interested in this board, let me know. On Twitch or on Discord. Because I'm trying to see if I want to try to order a bunch. Because like, there's some logistics around. Apparently there are some one-time fees per order or per batch for like the PCBA stuff because of weird components or something, and then just the time frame and stuff like that. Like if only 2 people want them, I'm probably not going to do it, but if I get 10 people, I'd probably do it. I don't know. I've also never run a group buy before, and I'm also like winding down on the time I have left before I hit the trail, so I don't want to take on too much commitment. So it would be a very like, you have a week to order, if even that, and then I'd try to get it to you by the month, you know, like as soon as I get all the stuff in. I don't know. Anyways, if you're interested, if you would be interested in the Tipper TF, it looks like a cool board. I like the e-ink display concept. Anyways, just throwing that out there, and I'll probably have a little more, like I'll reach out to people on Discord and probably on Twitter as well to see if there's any interest in it. This would be for, I should also say, this would be for North America folks only, simply because I don't want to, like, mailing a flat pack to Canada I don't think would be that big of a deal, or Mexico or something like that, but like, he's definitely doing a Europe one. So if you want a Europe, if you're in the EU and you want one, reach out to Weedior, Weteor, on Discord. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Yeah. Random stuff. Let's build a keyboard. So this board has it's soldered in chalk switches, but it also has 2 chalk minis down here. And from what I understand, the idea is you hit those with your palms or like the edge of your thumb or something like that, which is kind of a neat concept. Or you can bongo on them, I don't know, but I do have some extra chalk minis, so it'll be a good use of them to throw them on here. I have browns in my corn, chalk mini corn, but I'm gonna put blacks in this just because I have I bought like a 10-pack of them just to try out. I didn't buy a full set, so I've got just a handful of those, so I'll put those in here. It also has support for putting the diodes on either side, which is kind of neat. And something that has been mentioned to me a bunch of times about when building these is putting the switch in and then trimming off the excess on the legs and soldering it after that to get it nice and flush. So if I do that and put the diodes on top, because they'll hide in the LED hole here, then it should be it won't be smooth because there's still bumps because the switches actually stick out. And then this is going to be a little harder to get smooth with the controller, and who knows what the chalk minis are going to be like, but it'll be a lot smoother. It won't be sharp and pointy. So I'm going to try to do that today, just to kind of see how difficult it is, and if I should just start doing that in the future. I almost did it on the Zaphods, but I was like, you know what? These are going to be in cases. It doesn't really matter. And I'd rather do something I know works than experiment on somebody else's boards. Right? So there we go. So yeah. So I'm going to put the diodes on the top, I guess is what I'm getting at, because they'll hide inside the switch, and then it should be a relatively smooth bottom. I don't know. One thing I wanted to check is I don't know if this is chalk space or MX space, and I suspect it's chalk, which means my caps selection is much more limited. I have a bunch of scoops, but I have less MBKs. Yeah, that's chalk space. There's no way. Yep. Okay, that's good to know. So we'll figure out some combination of cap colors here. I think I have a couple others, and I have black and white too, but I don't want to... Black or white, I think, would just be kind of boring in here. I mean, maybe not black, because I think black caps always look good, but I'm going to change things up a little bit, so... And we'll just go with robins, because they're right in front of me. And I really... Oh, wait. Before I go putting all the switches in, I need to solder the diodes. That's fun. Okay. Let me go grab some diodes. Alright. It's been a while since I've soldered diodes, because last weekend was all just soldering switches. So I don't know if I know how to do this anymore. Whoops. Let me just check something real quick here. Stream settings, low latency, okay. Oh great, I did it. I screwed the pooch. Get in there. You can do it there. Almost, almost. Nope. Okay. Well, that's the end of that little plastic baggie. Alright. Diode time. Okay, and just while I'm here, I'm going to look. They're all facing the same direction. That way, except for these. So I'll have to remember that. These thumbs are backward. Why is this so... Anyone have any fun New Year's plans or New Year's resolutions they want to share? Mine's not really a New Year's resolution because, one, I don't super care for them because I never stick with them. But I've been going to the gym lately. And so I want to keep doing that until I leave for the trail. Because once I'm on the trail, I won't need to go to the gym because I'll be walking like 6 hours a day. And believe me when I say I lose weight really fast that way. In fact, the hardest part of being on the trail this time is going to be not losing weight too fast. Because I need to lose fat, not muscle. So I'm going to have to be really careful with my diet. Ooh, sculpt in 3D. Like freehand sculpting, like Blender, or... ZBrush. Okay, nice. Are you trying to do it for like sculpting as art, or are you trying to sculpt for function? Working on a head. Nice. Hopefully not my head. That'd be terrifying. Okay, yeah. Minis. That'd be cool. I kind of want to get a mini made for my gnome monk. Or just some sort of art for it. Even though I don't play it anymore because that campaign is done and he's been retired. It was one of my favorite D&D characters I've ever played. Just because of the shenanigans I pulled with him. And also because of the gnome monk thing, which is such an obscure reference that I'd be incredibly surprised if anyone I ever mentioned gnome monk to got the reference. There's a... Back in the early days, there was a comic strip called GU Comics, which I believe started off as an EverQuest comic strip, but has since expanded and grown into other things. I don't know if they're still going, but they were kind of low-key and then got really big. But there was another one that came out at one point called WTF Comics, and it was purely EverQuest. But it wasn't like GU Comics where it was kind of topical. WTF Comics was more of a story being played out, whereas GU Comics is more like episodic kind of commentary on the state of the game and the gaming community and stuff like that. And WTF Comics, well, in EverQuest there were monks that you could play, but you could only be Ixar, which is like a lizard person, or human. And in WTF Comics there were a pair or a trio, I want to say, of gnome monks who were kind of the villains or the mischievous, like, bad guy kind of types. And so, but when they were first introduced, they came out and they like appeared in front of these group of people, and the whole thing was like, gnome monk. And I like playing gnomes in general. Like, my first character in EverQuest was a gnome wizard. My first character in non-beta World of Warcraft was a gnome mage. I just like playing gnomes. I don't know why. And so, D&D, a gnome monk. Yes, please. And in fact, I have been lately playing some WoW a little bit, sadly. But I have a gnome monk in WoW. Or a mecha gnome monk, I guess. And it's fun. So, I just like the idea of gnome monks. And it comes entirely from that comic strip. Yeah, I feel like that's where the money in 3D sculpting and stuff is doing video game work. Or movie work, I guess. Would also be possible, but video games too. For a while, my profile picture on Discord was a capture of, like, a cropped out image of the gnome monk, or one of the gnome monks from that comic. Because for a while you couldn't have per server profile pictures, and my first Discord server I had, or I joined, was for my D&D campaign. So of course I was a gnome monk. What's your next character going to be? Also, kind of related, but more a tangent than anything. I really hope that Discord eventually expands their stage channels such that you can have video going as well. Because I think it would be really, really fun to be in a group voice chat with a bunch of people and stream. Because it doesn't even have to be a big group of people. Just, you know, so like Kaz or S'mores or Unregistered, anybody who wanted to like hop in and shoot the shit for a little bit, they could do it via voice instead of having to type it. I think that could be awesome. But the stage channels are voice only at the moment. I have a feeling they're working on the video part. And if they aren't, they should be. And of course, I potentially had the opportunity to, or I had the opportunity to potentially work on all these things. But I decided to walk the Appalachian Trail instead of getting a job. And in some ways, or in many ways, I'm glad I did. Like, I've heard some things about Discord lately that concerned me a little bit, and even when I was talking to the recruiters, you know, it seemed like they were kind of entering their hyper-growth phase, and so it was like, we're gonna hire everybody, and I'm like, that's hard to do, and if you do it wrong, it's really bad. I've been there. I was in there when Stripe did it, and it turned out really poorly for me in some ways. Obviously, it turned out well in others, because in large part because of Stripe, I am now partially retired, but still. Hello, Jerome. What are you building? And where are you going to share the pictures with me? Speaking of greeting new people, I've said it in the past jokingly and kind of mocking the whole idea of like begging for subscribers. But when I checked earlier, I was at 297. It'd be kind of cool to get to 300. So if you're not subscribed, go subscribe, please. I'm at 299. I need one more person. Corn MX and Lily 58 Pro. I will argue that you want to go smaller. What are you typing on right now? I guess I should ask. And how much do you really, really need that number row? Because I would almost argue that if you really, really, really need that number row, no, what you need is a number pad. And you can build that separately. Like, oh, I work in accounting. No, you don't need a number row. You need a number pad. Much faster and better input for numbers on any kind of scale. But you can also do things like I do, and like a lot of people do, and embed a number pad into a layer, but it's not, I will say that is genuinely not as good as a number pad. But for most people, it's plenty. Full-size monoprice mechanical with cherry blues. Okay, well, that is certainly a keyboard. One of my earlier builds was a Korn MX, and I really, really love it. I will say, if you go with a Korn, get the V3 PCBs. Unless you're doing a wireless build, then get a V2s. Unless you don't want RGBs, then get whatever the hell you feel like, because that's the main difference there. But I am not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for rainbow animations and stuff like that. I like RGB backlighting. Oh yeah, for any kind of thing where you're using a lot of hotkeys, like I would even say make a macro pad specific to your application. Especially if it's like hotkeys for like a one-handed thing, like you hit all the hotkeys with one and you have like a stylus or a mouse in the other hand or something like that. Definitely go with like a fully custom to your needs macro pad of some sort, which could just be one half of a Korn or one half of an Iris or whatever, but like it's still like custom tailored for that operation. Okay, some of these are not going to fit because they're ugly solder joints, so I'm going to fix those. Come on. Well, I mean, no monk. Monks don't need to wear armor. In fact, they get penalized if they wear armor, I believe. And so I would use, or try to utilize every opportunity to get naked. And be a naked gnome monk running around, punching things. I mostly just used my fists, but I had a quarterstaff as well. And for like when I'm not naked, there was the, you know, it's the like robe versus wrappings kind of thing. So I think just like simple cloth wrapping for like around the groin area or something, and then just kind of like bare chest or like a basic shirt or something like that. I don't know. Gray hair, short, big shit eating grin. Extra double bonus points if you make him ride on the back of a tiefling paladin. I think it was a tiefling. Pretty sure it was a tiefling. Because that actually happened one time. We went into an area in this dungeon, and it was flooded with water, like 3 feet tall. And everyone's like, or the DM I think said waist deep, and I said waist deep to who? And then everybody started laughing. Because, of course, you know, it's waist deep on the humans, and it's up to my neck. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna... our paladin in the party was like, here, you can just ride around on me. And, of course, I'm naked. So this naked gnome riding on the back of a paladin. And then we come across something, I don't remember exactly what. But he throws me. Basically uses me as a weapon attack. Like, it's his role, but it's my damage kind of thing. He throws me at this group of baddies that's ahead of us. and sadly we missed, but it was a hell of a lot of fun just like envisioning it. And then of course the DM being like, okay, yeah, let's do that. That's one of the things I love about D&D is that like the rules are literally just guidelines. Like a good DM will allow just about anything to happen within reason if it's fun, if it adds to the fun element, right? And that was definitely one of those, like, let's figure out how to try to make this a thing, right? Okay, yeah, then if you don't care about RGB or OLED, then I would go with really anything. I would say, since it's your first build, definitely get hot swap, so don't go with like a Corn Light. Which Corn Light has support for all sorts of different types of switches, but they're all soldered. Get you a Corn, but you don't have to be specific. You don't have to be super picky about which version. Which opens up more shops, because like I think Board Source kind of has a monopoly on the V3 chalk corns. So if you get a chalk corn from, say, Little Keyboards, you're going to get the V2. And that's because the V3 chalk corn is literally just Board Source just was like, well, we're going to make this. Like, it didn't come from Fustan, it was them. As far as I understand. So maybe not a monopoly, that's a bad thing. They have, it's their board. That's not to say nobody else can also make one, but nobody else is. The rule of cool prevails, yes. And on the front of, like, the rule of cool prevails, my current campaign I'm running with that group, so we're running Icewind Dale, and this isn't really spoilery-ish, but there is a room in a building that we went to that had a contraption that turns illusion into reality. We'll just say that. And I was like, well, we should test this, but also, like, I kind of, because we were trying to help an entity that is an illusion of a former wizard or something like that become real. But I was like, well, we should test this first, right, and make sure it works. But then I was like, wait, but what if it only has like one charge or something? How does this work? Well, so we had a bard with us, and bard has minor illusion. And I was like, I know what we'll do. Because minor illusion creates an illusion of a thing that's 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot, right? That's the maximum size. And so I was like, and I'm a dwarf, so of course gold. I was like, let's make a 5-foot cube of gold pieces. And then someone else was like, platinum. And I'm like, or platinum. Whew. Like, we sadly, and the DM was like, okay. We sadly, our rolls, because we had to roll a percentile die, or roll percentile dice to kind of see, the success and how well it succeeded and yada yada yada. We didn't succeed, so we had a little creature that we had to fight, and it was nasty. Like, it was like an acid globule or something like that. So it was like dissolving people's weapons. It was kind of nasty. Not something we want to just like sit there and keep flailing at, like, oh, let's try it again, let's try it again, let's try it again. But I was thinking about it afterward, and I was like, since I've DM'd before, I was like, man, as a DM, there's so much you can do with that if it exceeded. Because a 5-foot cube of platinum pieces, like, You can't haul all those away. That's way too much weight. Even if you had a bag of holding, that's way too much weight. And so it's like, well, how do I mess with the party a little bit? Like, okay, great, you've got this pile of platinum pieces now. What do you do with it? We even went and did the math, or the DM said he went and did the math, and it was like something like 5 billion gold worth of platinum pieces. So, like, it would have totally trashed the local economy. Also, I mean, we would have been like the richest people on the... It was just crazy. And then I thought even more. I'm reading another book, or I'm reading a book right now, part of the Critical Failures series of, like, faux D&D books. And they have a dragon, and I'm like, man, imagine if it had, like, attracted a dragon. So, like, we left and carried as much platinum as we could out, and we were gonna come back and try to get more, and we come back and there's a dragon there. Or, you know, like, or we notice people around town with, like, more bling than usual, and, like, hyperinflation happens. Like, there's so many things you could do with that, and I'm just like, this is... This is why I love this game. Because you just have so much freedom to just do whatever. But sadly, we didn't succeed our roll. And we tried again with a smaller patch, like a 1 foot cube of platinum, thinking maybe it would have a higher chance of success. And we fought the same thing again. It didn't work, so. And it's not that it wouldn't have, it's just my rolls were shitty. I will also say that as a DM, DMing for a group of coworkers, the highest amount of praise you can give to me as a DM is to talk about last night's game with other people at work the next day. So, like, sitting at the lunch table, I'm like, oh yeah, and we met this one character and blah, 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 wow. So I just clipped that leg off, and I heard it hit the light up here like a snare drum. So if you've ever questioned using safety glasses for stuff like this, don't. Just wear the damn things, because that would have gone... If that had hit my eye, I would be going to the emergency room right now. Like, that was nasty. Yeah, the V3MX is also just... You can buy them from at least Little Keyboards. I don't know. I'm sure other places have them, but... yeah. That's where mine's from. And if you're doing LEDs, definitely go with the V3 because they use the better SK6812 Mini E's. If you're not doing LEDs, or more so if you're doing wireless, I would say go with the V2 PCBs because they have reversible footprints, which means you can flip your controllers so that they're face up and get a battery underneath, like your nice Nanos. Get a battery underneath more nicely, in my opinion. And the LED, the fact that they're the crappy LEDs doesn't matter because you're not going to put LED backlighting on your friggin' wireless boards. Unless your name is Tom Barnes, and then it doesn't matter where the battery goes because you're using 18650s. So you don't need the flipped controller to make it look pretty because you have a giant battery case underneath or something. Yeah. Eye patches are cool, but I would say, but a someone who doesn't have a sharp piece of metal embedded in their eyeball can wear an eye patch. Like, I could put an eye patch on right now and be just as cool and still be able to see. Or at least see as well, but it's an optional thing, so I can take it off and get my vision back. Yeah, depth perception's overrated. Unless you're a fighter pilot or you're driving. I will say, if I ever DM for D&D again, I'm gonna not try to follow a book, like a canned campaign, because I feel like that constrains me too much, or at the very least, like, effectively does, because I get paranoid about, like, being true to the story as written and stuff like that, whereas if I'm just doing my own thing, I can literally just wing it. And as long as I capture stuff for continuity, I don't necessarily have to do anything in advance. I mean, it's good to have ideas and it's good to have some amount of story, but like, since it's all stuff I came up with, or like I'm cribbing from somewhere, but it's not like say Curse of Strahd, if suddenly my players were like, actually we want to become vampires and be with Strahd, I'd be like, okay, well, how do I do this? Although that at least is a big enough departure from the story as written that I could probably just get away with throwing the storybook out at that point. Just like, okay, we're gonna enslave the population instead of saving them. This isn't written down at all, so let's go ahead and just do this. But I guess, of course, if I had a campaign where they were like, let's just enslave all these people and become vampires and stuff, I'm like, well, I probably would have known that going in, because they would have been like, let's do an evil campaign. Yeah, this approach is a little more time consuming, but I do like the results. These flat little beads of solder on the bottom instead of big pointy boys. I mean, some of them are still a little pointy because I put too much solder on. And so you get that like teardrop shape going, but it's fine. I do want to find some flush cutters that hopefully wouldn't damage the PCB though, because there's a lot of like marks now on these switch pins around the footprint. So that's all the regular chalk switches soldered. Let me find my minis. Those don't fit as snugly in their footprint. It's fine, but it means I'm gonna tape them on. And by as snugly, I mean they don't fit in there. They don't fit snugly at all. They just fall right out. So for this one, I'm actually going to just solder one leg just to hold it in place. And then I'll trim that and reflow it afterward. I think it is a little funny. The footprint for these chalk minis is reversible. Even though it's not a reversible board. But that just goes to show, like, it's not as refined of a footprint because nobody uses it. So, like, it doesn't have, you know, tight tolerances like you get with the chalks. It doesn't have, there's not a non-reversible version, and, or maybe there is and just first didn't use it. I don't know. It's not a critique. I just think it's kind of funny that, like, it's kind of the, like, afterthought switch at this point from Kale, the chalk minis. I do kind of want to try building another board of them, but with linears instead of browns. So I'll use blacks instead of browns, but the blacks I think are really heavy. So that might be a problem. I don't know. Like, I kind of want to give them a second chance, because I don't know if I just got a bad batch or if the tactiles just suck or what. Oh. Alright, so that is all of the switches put on. That was a nice comfy feeling keyboard. I don't know about these like just putting my hands on here and trying to kind of use it, like where I almost would just want to reach down like this. And I feel like that defeats the purpose. It's definitely not palm because it's too far in. And even like edge of my thumb because it's so low. I don't know. I would be very curious to see if anyone that has one of these actually uses it, and if they use those palm switches or what. But of course, like, the likelihood that any of us actually use it, because only 7 of these are. Oh well, Shoggoth probably bought 10 PCBs because that's the size you can get. So there's 10 of these that exist, but who knows how many of them are built or ever will be or whatever. Like, this is not, I don't think, anybody's daily driver. Please tell me it's this way. Raw ground reset. Yes. Nice. So I can flush mount this against the PCB on this side. So we're going to do that. Got some headers. Let me actually grab different headers. Let me actually put these headers away. Get them off of my messy desk. So I am going to try to snip these really tight as well on the bottom. Okay. Don't really need this because these fit in here really snugly. So I'm gonna just throw this out here. If you're designing a keyboard, make your headers fit really nicely in there. They're not loose, they don't wiggle, they're not gonna fall out when you flip the board over. It makes soldering these things so much easier. And it's just a nice experience. And the way I've seen it done is like where it's a column of pins, but they're slightly offset a little bit to make it so you have to almost kind of twist the header. It's less that you have to twist it, it's more that it gets twisted when you put in. It's just a minor thing, but it helps grip it. Or this appears to be just using smaller pins, or smaller holes. But man, oh man, is it game changer. Okay, I am just gonna do the corners real quick, just to tack it in. Really doesn't want to flow into that. Oh, you know what? I bet it is. Yeah, this is... It's not upside down because you cannot put the switches in from this side except for the minis. But I think this is meant to be an underslung controller. Because what's happening here is I'm having a hard time soldering this pin, this header pin, and it's because this side doesn't have, like, there's solder mask over where the holes are, whereas this side has bare metal, so you can actually solder to it. So one problem with having it mounted on the bottom is that everything else is so flat. This sticks up a lot, especially because it has to be mounted upside down like that. Whereas it would be really flat on the top side. Man, it's hard to see. I want to see if I can do a little scrapey scrape here. Don't look, Purse. If you're watching, don't look. I don't know. I don't think I want to sit here and scrape all these. I mean, I guess I could just solder it on the top. I've never tried that before. Screw it, let's do that. Okay, so I think that's in there. No, it's not. I was gonna say, I think that's in there solidly enough. Oh, it is. Because what happened there is the pin just came out of the header. So, what I can do here... Oh, no, I can't. What I was gonna say is, I think I can just tack in the two ends here, pull this plastic piece off and solder it on, but the problem is I can pull the plastic piece off, but then there's nothing to hold the legs in there. Because that's what's holding the legs in there. Hmm. Problem here is there's like a fine line between scraping the solder mask off and then scraping the actual contact material, the pad, off. Yeah, and that's not... I mean, I guess it kind of did. I'm gonna try this with even with the solder mask on there and see what happens. Because it is kind of getting on there. Let me do the grounds and then I'll check the continuity. See if it's making electrical contact with the pad. Ugh. Ugly. Ugly solder joints. I mean, it is. I'm gonna try a little bit of flux to see if I can get it to flow down into the holes. Oh, no, wait, this is my flux. Okay. I mean, I had continuity before, so this doesn't really tell me that much. I think that'll work. So I'm going to put a little dab of solder on each of these pins. See, it's just not sticking at all. I don't know. I don't know about this. A little bit of flux here. The extra fun part is that after I solder all this stuff on here, I'm not going to know if it works. But actually what I think I can do is, now that I've got all the headers pins soldered on, they're on there well enough that I should be able to pull the plastic pieces off. And then I can just hit them from the top here, and then trim everything flush from the bottom. Just a little dab of solder. Well, see, a couple of these definitely flowed all the way through, so that's good. Come on now. All right. Just cleaning off the excess flux here. Yeah, that works okay, I guess. Slightly jank, but, you know, gets the job done. So what I'm actually going to try to do on this side is I'm going to put flux in the holes to hopefully coat things as the header pin goes through. And then hopefully it'll flow down through there. We'll find out in a second. There is connectivity, or continuity, I should say. This ground is not well soldered. I don't think. That should be better. We'll give that a go and see. Certainly looks better from this side. It's not going to be as flush as I would have liked, because the side has some bubble or like volcanoes on it, but it'll be good enough. Yeah, and I'm gonna trim these way down. And then do the same, like basically the same thing I did with the switches, but on the controller pins here. Someone suggested it in a previous video, and I was like, I kind of like that. So trim these down so they're real flat. And then solder them. I'm trying to get these nice looking. Just a second. Do a little bit of cleanup here. Holy crap, there's too much crap on my desk. My desk is like one of those coin pusher machines where you drop a coin in and it drops onto a little thing and there's a thing that moves back and forth and pushes the coins forward. In that, this is the middle part, and then I just push stuff further away until it starts falling off the edges. I mean, this looks clean, but you're not seeing everything that's around it, which is a total disaster. So sometimes you just need to stop for a minute and just grab some stuff and get it out of your way. There we go. Perfect. Let me flip this over because this is driving me nuts. Trim these down. Ow. That hurt. Ow. I should get like a thimble for that, so it doesn't hurt so much. Actually, I do want to keep this out. Okay. Let's do the other side here. The one nice thing about using this RP2040 and also having it face up is you don't need a reset button or to use tweezers because it already has both the reset and boot buttons built in and they're right on top here. Unlike nice nanos, or unlike Pro Micros, which you hit the reset button and it puts it into bootloader mode, and unlike nice nanos where you double tap the reset button and it puts it into bootloader mode, these you have to hold the reset button or hold the boot button while you reset it. So either you're unplugging it and plugging it back in, or you're hitting the reset button or whatever, and then that turns it into bootloader mode. So you need a separate button for the bootloader. Because reset will just literally just reset the controller. It's like plugging it in again. Kind of. Alright. So first of all, I don't know if I have enough switches here, caps here. 2, 4, 6, 8 caps. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so 28, 29 caps. So I don't have enough red and blue caps to make this board. Not even to just do the alphas with. I could do blue thumbs. I don't even have enough salmons to do the full thing. It's gonna be a bit of a Frankenboard. Since we have the least number of thumbs, or rather the least number of blues, let's put those down here on the thumbs and palm switches. I said I had, what, 21 reds? So that should be enough for the top and bottom column or rows, and then do salmon in the middle. Oh, I forgot. I also have a Zaphod Lite prototype on its way. Pete had an extra one, and I told him, you know, if anybody else wanted it, please, by all means, sell it to them, because I already have a Zaphod prototype and the Zaphod production. So a Zaphod Lite, do I really need another one? Especially, I don't want to, like, hog them all. But he's had it for a while, and so I bought it from him. So that'll be coming at some point. I still, my BLE Seeduino Shao still not shipped yet. So I'm frustrated with that. But what I'll do is I will socket the Shao so that I can use it wired for now. And maybe even if my... So I've got Shao shaped... right now I have 3 different types of Shao footprint controllers. I have the actual Shao, which is a SAMD21 controller. I have the QT Pi, which is also SAMD21. They're basically the same thing, except they're just made by different people and have slightly different features and stuff like that. Like the QT Pi has oh, this looks actually pretty nice. The QT Pi has a quick connector. And I also have a RP2040 QT Pi. So this is the Shao, the RP2040 QT Pi. And then here's just the QT Pi SAMD21. These two are basically the same thing, but it has a quick connector, quick or stemma or whatever. Basically I2C standardized connector thing. Seeduino just announced their version of the RP2040 Shao, which is extra nice because it is actually pin compatible with this. Because there are a couple of pins on the back here that certain things use. They're not required, but like if you want an external reset button, that's where that goes. But these are not pin compatible even between each other on the back, which is kind of frustrating. And also, I think if you tried to put the QT Pi on a Shao footprint and you were using those back two, you would short 5 volt and ground, I think. Or there was some issue I remember raising to Pete about, to be careful, because he was, you know, starting to kind of like try to standardize on the footprint. Like, maybe kind of don't try to use the back for anything unless it's like you're designing it specifically for that controller. Like, just make the outer edge the actual like official footprint, and kind of leave these on the back here to be like not so much non-standard, but more like what am I trying to say? Like user parts, like I don't know, whatever. So I've got at least 2 more Shao footprint types of controllers coming, because I've got the Shao 2040 from Seeduino, and I've got the BLE Shao that I've ordered. So it'll be fun to see. Whoops. And also, I just noticed I have these. I need to send these to Pete. He accidentally ordered these and sent them to me, so I've got to send them to him. Okay. So I don't remember where I was going with the Shao stuff. Oh, but the Zaphod Lite. So I'm going to socket that, so when the Shao BLE gets here, I can swap that in. But it'll be kind of cool to try it with different Shao footprint controllers. Like, you know, I'm gonna do it with the actual Shao and then do it with the QT Pi, because that, other than maybe the actual pin mapping back to the controller, should be functionally equivalent, because they're both SAMD21. And then then the Cutie Pie Shao, which of course will, or the Cutie Pie, the 2040 Cutie Pie, which will of course be the same, have the same issues as this, in that it's an RP 2040. So I have to get the fork or not the fork, but the latest Zephyr and all this stuff. But it'll just be fun to play with until, the final form arrives with the BLE version of the Shao. So, anyways, so yeah. So speaking of firmware, this does not have firmware because it's the KB 2040, which, like, I don't know where Pete's code is for it, but he sent me he sent me the firmware for this. Like, try this firmware. So I don't know how to build it. I could probably figure it out if I dig through his GitHub or something like that. But I also think at one point he didn't even have it published to GitHub, so it may not be possible at all at the moment for mere mortals. So I can't plug this in and test it because I don't have any way to build the firmware for it. And the firmware for the Osprey will almost certainly not work on here, if for no other reason than it's a different number of keys. But also I'm sure it's using different controller pins and stuff like that, so it just won't work. So I can't do a little typing test with this, but I can put my hands on it, I guess, and feel, and actually, feels pretty nice. Again, I don't know if I'm sold on these, just because, like, where my hands sit on the board, like, I don't know how it would hit them, because like I said, even like trying to just hit it with the side of my thumb here, they're too low for that. And they're not quite as bindy as the Browns, but they're pretty bad. Like, hitting it off center, because hitting this off center, it works pretty nicely. I mean, it's not perfect, but this is like, it just binds like crazy. Anyways, this is the Absolem Club 2021 Meetup Turtle board. It's fun, neat little board. I like it. And I actually don't hate the color scheme I came up with here. With my rando, just like, let's see, what caps do I have left over? I feel like there's going to be a lot more of that going on in the future, because at some point I need to stop ordering keyboard things. So I'm going to just start, like, digging through the pile. There's going to be a keyboard, I'm sure, with like 8 different types of chalk switches on it. And at some point I need to finish up this bag of box jades. So there's going to be another meme keyboard somewhere. But yeah, good stuff. I had something else I was gonna say. Oh, no. Well, I was gonna just quick mention about I'm getting a. So in the past, I've talked about, like, using a wireless keyboard and my iPad as my primary computing environment, or primary, like, interface to a computing environment. One thing I really miss about that setup, or with that setup rather, is the using my laptop on the couch while watching TV thing. Because I'll just be sitting there and I'm like, oh, I want to do some stuff, and like, just sit. I have to come down here, or I have to go to a table because I have to set up. Right? I can't just, like, my laptop would often live next to the cushion in my couch, so it's just like literally in the couch. I just grab it and use it. To the point where I used to have like a power cable run through, like, because when my couch was against the wall in a previous place, there was a power outlet right behind it. So I plugged the power supply into the wall and then just ran the cable and threaded it into the couch cushions a little bit. Because I had, like, separate cushions in the back, so you could just hide the whole thing, and then there's just a white wire hanging out. You just plug it into your laptop and you can charge while you're sitting there. It was awesome. That's not the part I miss. The part I miss is, like, even if I could somehow stabilize my iPad on my lap, or like stream the iPad to the TV and use that as an external display, and this just doesn't work. And not this specifically, this form factor, this like unibody, small unibody split just doesn't work sitting in my lap. And then also with the iPad, like, since I don't have a pointing device, I have to touch the screen. Like, even having it be projected to my big TV would not be a great thing, because I still need to touch the screen to navigate things, right? So what I'm gonna get is, so one thing that I've had in the past is I've got this. See if I can dig it out. It might actually be upstairs. So I've got this like 3D printed tray thing. Which takes a corn. And it's actually like, this is a full with a case and everything corn, but I think with the standoff hole or screw holes and standoffs and stuff like that, I think it was actually really designed to just be the case for the corn. So you would drop a PCB in here. This is just the closest corn I could grab there. I have several like bare PCB corns I could throw in there. But one, it's specific to just the corn. So I'd have to build something that, or I'd have to design something that takes a Zaphod or make it a flat surface or something like that. The other problem is this little slot back here doesn't take my iPad with the case in it. Let's see if this is even showing up very well. So while it is long enough, it's not deep enough to hold on to the iPad, so it just kind of sits there, so it's a little floppy. And it's also a little small, although it would probably work okay with... It could probably work. I can take the iPad out of its case and stick it... Although I guess it is still a little bit too long because these edges curve a little bit. So there's... TLDR, I need to modify this thing to be able to actually use it. But I found one. I just like searched for it today a little bit. I found one. It's at Target. I can go pick it up in a little bit. So I'm going to do that. And I'll report back, because that is a... Whoops. That is a thing I dearly miss, is being able to sit and type on the couch. And not type like for the sake of typing. Although sometimes that. But no, like type like, oh, I've got a bug in me to try out something with Obsidian, or I want to capture something. And, you know, using it on my phone is okay, but it's just not the same as like actually typing. And if I want to write some code, that's not happening. I'm not even going to bother trying to do that from my phone. So, I want to try to get some of that back. I still have my laptop, but I wiped it like weeks or months ago at this point, and it's just been sitting, you know, keeping the pocket in my couch warm. I need to take it back to the Apple store and do the trade-in thing. I just haven't. So I will report back on that to see, you know, with my results. And be like, you should totally get one of these if you're thinking about this, because it's just a little flat surface with a little crevice in the back to stick an iPad in. And I'm thinking that's the way to go. I thought it was funny. I found one on Amazon that was $35, or maybe it was Target. No, it was Target. $35 on Target, and it had an offer for $39 for assembly and installation. I literally don't think there's anything you can do. Like, there's nothing to assemble. Like it's like buying a piece of wood and then saying, okay, now stick your keyboard and your laptop on top of it, and that's your assembly. Like, you're gonna pay someone as much as you would pay to buy the thing to assemble it. Like, what are they actually gonna do? I think stuff like that is kind of funny. Because I mean, they would charge you, I'm sure, and the person would come out and be like, okay, here's your thing, and there you go, assembled, right? Because it's not like it holds a keyboard or a Zapod. It's just a flat piece of thing with like a bit of foam on the bottom to hold it all together, or to make it so it stands up a little bit. Which is in fact my biggest concern, is that it's going to be too tall, or that the second biggest concern being that the iPad won't fit into its little slot. So, but anyways, it's just something I thought was kind of funny. But if that happens, then that might actually, I might be able to get some things done that I want to be able to do that are hard to do if I have that extra like startup energy required to do it, because I have to go set up somewhere. I can't just like grab my phone or grab my iPad, my laptop, and do it on the couch while I'm thinking about it. So anyways, yeah, turtle good. I'm not gonna stream tomorrow, but I will stream on Sunday, and I'll probably end up building the MX Osprey, because I have all the stuff for it, including firmware, assuming it's the same controller pinouts, which I don't see why it wouldn't be. So I can actually test it, because I'll put well, no, I'm gonna put a nice Nano in that. What am I talking about? I'm putting a nice Nano in the MX Osprey, because there is a moderate chance that is something I would want to use long term. I don't know what switches I'm going to put in it, but they're hot swap, so it doesn't really matter. And caps, I finally went through most of the MX caps that I have, and I put on the end of the box. I marked it with A or no A to denote whether or not there are alphas currently in the box. Because this one I've taken the alphas out of, but it's got a bunch of other caps in there. This one has alphas, so yeah. So that way when I go over to my pile of boxes of keycaps, I know what I have available, and I don't have to dig through them all the time. But I also found another box of caps that isn't marked. So I'm gonna I'll do it right now. I was gonna say I'll have to figure out if there are alphas in here or not. I'm guessing not, just based on the fact that it's been opened. We'll find out in a second. Get this stuff out of the way real quick. No alphas. Yep. So at some point there is going to be a barf board that is full of just like, literally, I'm going to take a bunch of these sets and take all the numbers and arrow keys and stuff out and throw them in a bag. And then put that out there. Because most of them are XDA or NP profile. So it doesn't really matter what... So put a little A with a strike through. So it doesn't really matter what they are. It's still functional, and you know, I use blanks mostly anyways, so. I also have at least 2 more sets of caps coming, because I ordered some cat group buys ages ago. 3 sets of caps, I should say. Some cat... 4 sets. 3. Some cat sets a long time ago that haven't shown up yet, and also MBK Legends, which hopefully will show up before I leave. I'm honestly not optimistic about that. And it's not for lack of trying on Kart Sim's part. I know it's been a pain in the ass for them as much as it has been annoying for us to wait. But something tells me it's going to be after April before those arrive. So, yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for today. Oh, I totally forgot I had all these purples too. Anyways, I think that's it for today. So Sunday I'll do that MX Osprey. And then next week, if I get the barrel board in, I'll put that together and get the Work Legends or Work Louder Creator caps on. One thing that might throw a little bit of a wrench into that is these are not chalk space compatible, and I don't know if the barrel board is chalk spaced, but if it is, that's fine, because MBKs are chalk compatible. I have MBK glows on my... I just literally had it on my corn. So I'll just swap the caps around so that I have these on the corn and the MBK glows on the new board, the barrel board. So anyways, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you, Kuno and Jerome, who just showed up, and Jerome, who, first time here, welcome. Let me see, did I get to 300? And who was my 300th? Switch account, 299, let me just refresh. I should probably set up Streamlabs so that I can see. One more subscriber. I should probably set up Streamlabs so it like pops up and does a little bling or whatever when someone subscribes. But you know, I'll do that for the 300 subscriber special. So not today because I'm not at 300 yet. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out, and have a great New Year's Eve. Stay safe. Don't get the corona unless it's a yellow liquid, you know, drinking corona. Anyways, and see you next year. See ya.